I'm Graham Speak, CEO founder of BankVault. We're a cybersecurity innovation company. We have 6 patents filed worldwide, a number of products in market. But what I'm going to show you today is a way of creating passwordless logins to online web services. This is a silver bullet for most organizations. I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to go straight into a demo. But just to create some context, I'd like to show a couple of slides. The problem we're addressing is endpoint hacking of a user's browser. Most cyber attacks by volume target end user devices. The goal is identity theft, is to capture login credentials to online websites. When the user enters their password and the asterisks appear, this is simply a mask so people around them can't see their password. Any software in the browser intercepts this instantly as clear text. If you have got a password manager, whether your Chrome loads your passwords, 1Password, Dashlane, LastPass, for example, this is a fundamental security flaw in their architecture that they cannot patch. The moment they load your encrypted password into that web form, they expose it to any JavaScript or malware in that browser. This could be something that you picked up from a website 10 months ago. It's legitimate code, it's allowed to be there, it's not a virus, and it will intercept everything. You cannot fix this problem on the end user's device. The only solution is to actually go to a second device. And this is what the industry now calls two-factor authentication. This is a really good idea, something that you have and something that you know. It's a little clumsy, it's an extra step, and it actually is only another step that can be defeated. I'm going to give you just one technique here. If I've intercepted your browser 10 months ago, and I've got my JavaScript in there, and you load up your list of creditors to pay, for example, for your bank account, all I've got to do is change the bank account numbers behind the screen. I might even move the decimal point. You then authorize that with your banking fob, you Google Authenticate, your iris scan, or whatever it is, and that money goes to a mule account, then to my account. The two most precious assets of any organization on any balance sheet, whether it's yourself personally or your company, is actually your cash at bank and reputation. And this is gone overnight. So we've got a solution that we've created. It's actually a completely new paradigm. We call it an invisible keyboard. It's invisible to malware. And with this, we can actually create passwordless logins. So let's have a little look. This is a mock-up of a bank account login screen. The application is only going to echo what it captures at the back end, but it proves the point. And log in with my username. On this particular model, doesn't matter what I do, nothing works. I can't enter the password. If I look at it a bit more carefully, it says scan to enter the password. I'm going to open the camera on my phone. Today, all mobile phone cameras includes a QR reader. And what happens is on my phone, it actually turns into a keyboard. There's nothing installed on the phone. If I switch it anti-clockwise, it goes into landscape mode. And if I type my password now, it would actually just, every time I hit the screen here, it's actually echoing asterisks back on my workstation. The illusion is my phone is talking to my laptop, and it's not. Both these devices intersect at a web server session that was only created a few moments ago. The web server is only echoing asterisks on to my workstation. So there's nothing in the workstation that will ever intercept this. If I press login or hit return on my phone, it'll log in and echoes what we had. I entered my username on one keyboard, my password through the invisible keyboard, and there's the device signature of my mobile phone. 2FA, two-factor authentication, is something that you have and something that you know, created without installing any software on the device and in a way that was completely invisible to the user. Let me show this with a graphic as to what actually was happening. Normal login screen, the web server projects a login screen to the user's browser. We've made a cosmetic change in the web server to integrate an API. It's only 20 lines of code, it would take 20 minutes. The user enters their username, would normally enter their password and press transmit, but we're actually getting them to scan that QR code with their phone camera. That sets up an encrypted WebSocket back to the web server. Second channel, second device, we project an image back into the phone. When the user types ABC123, it creates characters at the back end of the web server and buffers them there. The web server echoes asterisks back on screen. So there's nothing in the workstation other than asterisks. The genius level of this is that there is no keyboard on the phone. That's only an illusion. We projected a photograph there. What we're doing is sampling micro cells on the screen. So it could be a photograph of animals, Chinese characters, anything. Those cells can only be interpreted by the web server session that set it up. And the web server is the only place in the universe that has context to merge the username and password. Plus we pass through the device signature. This sidesteps every attack vector that targets identity theft, capturing the username and password. If you can never intercept the password, that fundamentally changes the dynamics of cybersecurity. So let's expand on this. There's my login screen. We enter the username, scan the QR code, projects an image, touch the screen, it creates characters at the back end and passes through the device signature. Once we've logged in, however, there's other fields potentially which are really important. We don't want them ever to be intercepted. For example, a credit card CVV is sacrosanct. So is a social security number. Okay, now what if I'm on a laptop, a tablet or a mobile phone? I can't go scanning a QR code on my device from my device. So it works differently. You get a normal login screen. There's nothing installed on the phone. You enter your username as normal. The moment you touch the password field, everything changes. We invert the architecture. Your keyboard disappears. We project an image of a keyboard into an inline frame in the browser. You touch ABC123, we create characters at the back end and pass through the device signature. Now, because we're not transmitting the characters ABC123, what we're actually doing is transmitting cells. These cell references have no context outside the web server. So we can actually store these online and we can reconstitute them later inside the web server. This is contextless, meaningless data outside the web server. And we can only reconstitute it when the user's mobile phone is present and perhaps with an iris scan or a fingerprint. And what happens is this. The user comes along, opens their camera, the workstation recognizes it's them and logs them in. If you're on a mobile or a tablet, it recognizes it's them straight away and logs them in. Now, the security on a mobile phone is really strong these days, which is why the FBI can't intercept a terrorist's phone. But if you want more, of course, you can have it. We can include proof of presence with your fingerprint, the screen swipe, a PIN number, an iris scan. This standard is called WebAuthn. It's incredibly complicated to deploy with web services. It's part of the FIDO standard. If you were going to do this, you would need a team of people, and you'll probably need those people for the life of the system. We've reduced this into a click. You simply inherit it with BankVault. So for a user, there is no need to remember or enter the username password ever again. For hackers, there is no single attack surface, which makes this incredibly difficult to intercept. The really big surprise for us has been discovering that online businesses don't want any friction for users. And every business today is online. If you eliminate friction, create seamless logins, that increases engagement, creating sticky customers. That's a business driver. Add to that higher cyber security. That's a powerful thing to build trust. That's a win-win, a great way to win customers and to hold on to them. And this technology caps a major vulnerability with password managers that they can't solve. This has a formidable technological advantage over these technologies and brings this into the land of the enterprise. So the enterprise can deploy this to its users in a seamless way. So let's do a demo. I've got another login screen here. Let's refresh this. QR code has a limited life. I come along, I've already been here once, so the system knows me. I'm going to literally open the camera on my phone. There is nothing installed on my phone. It wants to open a web link. And on my phone appears that it knows it's going to log me in as me. I'm going to press that button. It now wants my fingerprint. I'm going to put my fingerprint to the phone. My fingerprint never leaves the phone. My screen fills with asterisks and logs me in. I never touch a keyboard. So if we look at what's involved here, the industry is saying that by 2022, 90% of mid-market enterprises will have adopted some form of passwordless authentication in at least 50% of use cases. There is a massive sea change coming in here, and all of the major vendors are very actively involved. The big players are trying to do everything. If I just choose these 6 smaller companies here on the right, collectively just these 6 have raised over $1 billion now. So there's massive interest in this. But if you think about how many websites the average person today logs into without a password, it's probably zero. And the adoption here has been so slow, not because of the cost. The scarce resource is actually the technical manpower to deploy this. You're going to make a major change to the way that you handle identity on a network. You cannot afford to get that wrong, or your company is offline. So you need a capable team completely focused on the task. You've probably got a data migration to occur. Then you've got to deploy software to the users, then teach them how to do this and how to actually make use of it. That change management project is a logistics nightmare. You've got 40,000 people on a university campus, it's a significant problem. If you're a bank with 1 million users, it's almost impossible. This is the problem that we've solved. So BankVault, you can deploy literally in a couple of hours. We're making a cosmetic change and we're inserting something here right with the web server. So we're not talking about months. There is no change to backend infrastructure. We're not getting rid of username and passwords, and these exist on every website on the planet today. There is no client software. There is no user setup. All the users know their username and passwords already, and they expect it. And so there is no change management. The adoption of this is literally by osmosis. If you would like to deploy a pilot and actually move to a rollout, the work involved is about 2 hours. You can set this up not with separate sandboxed infrastructure. You simply set up a test login page on a different URL and just give it out around the office to evaluate it, to move from that to a proof of concept with a few choice customers, or move that out to a pilot to 1,000 users, and then roll it out to go live. The work involved in transitioning across each of these is exactly zero. So we have a lot of products in market, a lot of innovations. We have products that we are yet to release, but as a policy, we focus on doing one thing at a time to do it really, really well. And right now, that's passwordless authentication. The catch cry for this is you can't hack something that doesn't exist. There's nothing there. We're literally creating illusions. If you'd like to try this with your company, we'd welcome the chance to do this with you. We'll help you. It's very simple. There's no risk. There's no security risk. There's no technical risk. And you can do this without virtually any cost whatsoever. Have a chat with one of our team, and we look forward to talking to you.